Free stuff is awesome, but free stuff to spice up the bedroom is even better. Whether you're buying a gift for your sugar baby or just for yourself, you can get 50% off at adamandeve.com when you enter the code CANDY at checkout.
And that's not all. Adam and Eve will include 10 tantalizing free gifts, a sexy item for him, a special gift for her, and a third item all partners can enjoy. Plus, you'll receive 6 free spicy movies.
But the best part is the free shipping.
You can get all of this at adamandeve.com using code CANDY at checkout.
That's CANDY.
So, Shelby, what are you getting me?
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Candy Girl. I'm your host Shelby.
And I'm your co-host Emily.
And today we have a special guest who responded to our Craigslist ad that we put out a couple weeks ago, which has been really a great idea. So glad we did that.
I love Craigslist.
I do too.
I constantly browse Craigslist, not like personal sections, but missed connections is definitely my favorite one. Anyways.
So Zero, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name's Zero. Yeah.
So you're a sex worker. You're also transitioning right now, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, tell us about the kind of sex work that you do.
I haven't done it in a minute, but I was a stand-in dom, or I use a phrase I don't really like very much, bull, in cuckold scenes with dom friends of mine. So
that is so cool.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. Do you want to go into a little bit of detail about that?
Yeah. So it was basically the scene would be a guy would go in and they would ask the doms. Most of them presented as femme, so they would go in and they would ask, "Oh, I want you to kind of have a man come in and just rail me and like degrade me."
Same.
And and so that's where I came in. Is I was the ostensibly the man who would come in, and just whatever. It's a weird kind of subbing because they know exactly what they want, and I'm theoretically supposed to be taking them, but I'm pretty much just doing what they've asked for me to do.
And how did you get involved with that?
It's kind of a long, weird thing where my first year of college, I decided to widen my boundaries, and I got a FetLife profile, which is the worst website ever.
One of my friends is a frequent user.
Oh,
he's also kind of the worst.
It's a mire. It's just this terribly. Y'all could use this if you want, but I mean, FetLife might get mad at you. It's a terribly designed website.
Bad UI UX.
It's just like it's really sketchy. It's all laid out in like black and grayscale, so it feels like this kind of dark web prison.
I think a lot of people imagine the dark web as exactly that.
Yeah, it's very weird feeling, and you just kind of have to like browse people. But I somehow wound up on the page of this local dom, and I was looking at their photos, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. And they were like, oh, I'm working on some art stuff. I'm making trying to make a mobile dungeon. And so I was like, oh, that sounds really cool. And so I messaged them, kind of not really expecting a response, but I got one. And then we hit it off and we'd hang out, just not in like a dom subway, just kind of in a creative way. And I would do some like house cleaning and stuff for them in a subway. And then one day they hit me up and they were like, oh, how would you like to make a little bit of money? And I actually had no reservations about it. I was very down. And then it just kind of started happening.
That's interesting. I was going to ask because a lot of the guests that we have on here, there's usually like a moment where they're like, am I going to do sex work or not? And usually it's not that clear for them where they're like, yeah, I'll just do it. So do you feel like there's a particular reason, like maybe it's just your personality or like you just felt like you had nothing to lose or I don't know?
I guess I felt like I had nothing to lose because I think about this a lot. I think about this more than I should. There was a time a few years before I started doing that work where another local dom, because I kind of started becoming a stunt sub because of my connection through the first friend that I made. But a local dom asked me, "Oh, do you want to like shoot clips with me? And you be the sub and I'd be the dom." And that time I was like, I can't do that. That's like a bridge too far. And I don't know. That just kind of, I was very like comfortable with like my kinks and that and all that by then, but I wasn't comfortable with like the going out and trying to, being like that open with it.
Right.
And so maybe it was like regret from the first time, or just the fact that I needed money. Also that it's fun. I mean, it was obviously going to be a fun thing to do when I heard what the plan was.
Yeah, making money is a lot of fun, especially when you get to do things when you get to do the thing you love. Is it even work anymore?
Humiliating men is also a lot of fun.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
it's so much fun.
Did you have any like roasts that you would just go back to, or any like repeats?
Well,
Give me some inspiration for my sex life.
Well, there was this one. Let's see, you guys might not be able to use this because this is a little bit personal, but there was this one guy who really had like a few things that he loved being degraded about, and what he loved being called was one of the ones that really stuck to me. And I loved it. It was great. But he had like he had a Post-it card full of like insults that he liked being called, which I thought was great.
He had a oh my god,
Yeah.
Post-it notes.
Yeah, so like during during the session, I would like it was there on the nightstand, not the nightstand. It was there on like a shelf or something, whatever was in the dungeon, and I would occasionally look at it to get inspiration. And
I love how casually you said that. Like, yeah, I was just like, on something in the dungeon, and
it's not really because there's a bunch of surfaces in a dungeon, but I wouldn't call most of them shelves or like stands or tables.
I have a confession. I've never been in a dungeon.
I was just about to say, yeah, I was going to ask you about that because we don't have really any experience. Mostly we talk to strippers, cam girls, sugar babies, but we don't have a lot of experience with dungeons and,
The only dungeons I know is D&D, baby. Let's go.
I am trying to start a campaign, but I need a good DM, but that's beside the point.
Yeah, I'm in.
But the dungeons in Austin are pretty cool. There's a few. They're obviously like extremely what's the word I'm looking for? They're hard to find if you're not like searching them out. And the weird thing is they all have the same smell.
Really?
Yeah.
Good or bad or?
No, it's a good smell. Which I mean it's certainly a good smell. It's the smell of like overly clean, because I mean obviously you want to keep the
Dungeon clean,
dungeon
yeah.
like not just a disgusting cummy mess.
Yeah, episode idea. We go stand in a dungeon and just describe how it smells. 4-minute episode, just us talking about it.
It's a complicated smell, to be sure.
Does it smell like, I don't know, I kind of imagine like latex almost.
Yeah, there's definitely
So like some kind of like new toy smell.
Yeah, it smells like a lot of like latex and like latex cleaner, because you got like, I mean, you have like suits and hoods, like latex outfits, and then all of the toys, all of the dildos and plugs and stuff are like latex or metal.
Do they like hang them on the wall? Okay, let me tell you what I'm imagining. Okay, are you ready? I could be totally wrong, or I could be spot on. So, concrete walls, or like something painted like a dark color or bright pink. One of those.
It's definitely the former.
I don't know. I thought that'd be kind of cool. Okay, so black walls, and then like all the like toys are like hanging on the wall, and they're like intricately sorted. Like you have like your whips, your paddles, like sorted by very aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, I mean, that's like exactly what it's like.
Oh,
like a lot of
my
like
God.
all the dildos are like sorted by height, or like all of the like metal stuff is on like, it's very cool. And a lot of the more I don't want to say professional dungeons because that sounds belittling, but a lot of the more
Stocked.
stocked dungeons, yeah, will have like separate play areas. So I've been to a couple where there's like a section that's like a medical section, and they'll have diagrams on the walls, and they'll have like the bed with the stirrups, and they'll have like the enema thing, and they'll have just like all of the they'll have like an entire little medical thing with like a curtain and stuff.
Holy
And then
shit.
and then there'll be kind of like a dress up area for people who like sissification. It's really cool. It's like it's like a dollhouse. It's like a kinky little dollhouse.
That is so cool. I love that.
It's great. Yeah, it's like just a cool place to hang out, honestly.
I also love, like, as you're recollecting, you just look so excited.
Yeah,
Like,
your face lit up.
I mean,
This sounds like a weird trip. Like, I want to go into a dungeon.
So how long did you do that for?
let's see. The first time I kind of did it on and off for, I want to say, a year, maybe a year and a half. Yeah, I mean, I'd done like other little things, but yeah, about a year and a half is how long I actually spent as like, and it was me like on call. I never did anything where it was like me as a standalone option.
That's interesting.
So you were like an assistant almost?
Pretty much, like whenever someone, because I worked as a stud for like a few different doms in the area, and so whenever someone would come in and be like, "Oh, I want a man to just fuck me," they'd be like, "Hey, do you want to make some money for like an hour and a half?" And yeah, I mean, obviously the answer was always yes.
So did you work with more male or female doms?
I worked pretty much just with femdoms. Yeah. Or like female presenting doms.
Interesting.
We love a bad bitch. Are there any stories that stand out to you? I feel like when people come on this podcast, they like see it and they think of like one specific just super whack time.
There's two that come back to me.
Let's go.
The first one was the first time I ever really did it, which is I've never done it and it's been not really weird. But the first time I did it, it's like me and my friend we met up with the guy at a cafe. And so, obviously he's a pretty well-to-do guy. So he was covering everything, and I had my little espresso, and I had like a grilled cheese sandwich or a salad or something. And we're just kind of shooting the breeze. And he's asking me all these questions about like what I'm up to, and I try not to lie too much. Like I think I kind of faked the truth a little bit, so I sounded a little bit more like superior than I actually was. I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm in masters. I'm doing my masters right now." But then towards the end of the meal, he just like silently passes my friend a little blue pill, and I was like, "Oh, this is for him." And so I just kind of I pop it with my espresso, and don't really think anything of it. The session goes on. The session is good. It's great. And then at the end of it, he tells my friend, like, "Oh, so how much of that pill did they take?" Like, "Oh, the whole thing." Like, "Oh, I wouldn't recommend any more than a half for someone that size."
Oh,
So
no.
The thing about Viagra is and I mean, all the jokes are like, "Oh, you have a boner for like hours and hours if you take too much Viagra," but it just loosens up your blood flow. The kind of the way like poppers do. So my vision was like tracking super hard. So if I turned my head too fast, like everything would kind of blur with it.
No.
Like my body felt really weird. And so I was cleaning up the dungeon afterwards, and I had to stop because I was trying to sweep the floor, and it was just like the most disorienting task.
Oh my god.
And then I was working at a pizza shop at the same time. So after I finished that job, I went to the pizza shop where weirdly I made significantly less than I did earlier that day.
Classic.
But every time I would like bump into anything with my groin, I would immediately get hard, and that was a distraction.
No. That's the worst.
Yeah, I was like working in the kitchen where everything is like at waist level, so I just like got like making pizzas like hard as a diamond and trying to like not be weird around my coworkers.
I love that. That's
I'm sorry.
so funny.
So, 2 things. 1, this has happened multiple times.
The me overdosing on Viagra or the sessioning?
Oh, I thought. So wait, has it happened several times where people like slip you Viagra?
No, that was just the first time because everyone this guy was like, oh, this person's gonna have a hard time staying hard. Such is not the case. A little offensive. But
Making assumptions. I cannot. You really just saw this whole pill and were like, okay.
No one ever told me. I'd made that mistake before with other pills where it's more dangerous to do that. But I'd never been told otherwise. I was always just like, okay. I mean, yeah, when you take Viagra, obviously you take the whole thing. So, yeah, I guess I should have thought that one through a little bit more.
Okay.
I love that. Wait, did you say you had 2 stories?
Yeah, the other time is significantly grosser, which is pretty a standard situation. How it worked though is because a lot of guys who I've fucked in that way are kind of weird about like, because when you go into the session and you're like, oh, I want to be degraded, I want a guy to fuck me. You obviously have some leanings that you're kind of not that proud of, and not you're still working on like accepting. I don't know. Maybe that's me being an asshole, but
No, I like this psychoanalyst. Ooh.
But it's obviously like a gay desire, but it's kind of clouded by this like, oh, but I'm not gay, which is why this is such a bad thing. And so anyway, but part of that is when I've done it, a lot of guys are like, oh, I don't want to like see the person. I don't want to see the stud beforehand. I don't want the stud to talk to me. I don't want the stud to touch me except for his dick. And so I was in like a little corridor off to the side of the dungeon, and then there's the dungeon. So guy comes in, they're doing just like other stuff for like half an hour. I'm just kind of putzing around. I don't really remember. I was drinking a LaCroix or something.
Did they have LaCroix in the dungeon?
They do. There's a little fridge in the back. It's very...
Bro! Shelby, we need to find a dungeon. Help us find a dungeon.
Yes.
Okay, continue. Sorry, I just...
Very good. And
my God, there are similarities between dungeons and tech companies. Like,
Of course there are. Emily, of course.
Who would have known?
So anyway, they're just like doing stuff, and I don't really have any idea what they're doing. And then I get called in, and so I'm wearing like a mask so that he can't tell who I am. He's wearing a mask. I can't tell who he is. So I like work his mouth for a little bit. It's a mouth, and then
A mouth is a mouth.
and so my friends are, oh, it's time to get fucked in the ass, and so I'm going at it, and it's good. And then all of a sudden, my legs feel really warm, and I'm like, oh, he came all over my legs, and so my immediate thought is like, oh, that sucks, but that's not the worst thing ever. And then I kind of get like a smell, and I'm like, oh, what has happened here? And what I hadn't picked up on is that he'd gotten an enema beforehand, but not all of that had gotten cleared out. So I look down, and he's shitting water all over my legs.
Oh my God.
Are there showers in a dungeon?
There are, but I can't say anything. I can't say like, oh, because he doesn't want to hear my voice. So I have to like make eye contact with a mask on to my friend and be like, there's a situation. I need to wash up like now. And we end up like working it out. It's pretty gross.
Big yikes. That's what
How
it
long did
was.
it take to like motion to the?
I kind of don't remember. I think I might have blocked out how long it took. But it took a little bit. It took an uncomfortable amount of time.
And
Holy
that stuff,
shit!
things like that doesn't deter you from sex work at all?
Nah.
Was it kind of funny?
It was funny, yeah. Like even while it was happening, I was like, "Oh, this sucks. That's funny." But it's like it's a better feeling than finishing the 7th hour on the job and knowing you have like 2 more hours and just being like, "Oh, I'm gonna go home and just fucking die." Because it's not. It's a more. I've felt worse at jobs where I've actually been like contracted by someone.
Yeah, I get that. I worked at a Starbucks for a year, so yeah. So, as a queer person, do you feel like you have a different place in the sex work community that maybe a cis person doesn't have?
Maybe. I mean, yeah, maybe. But a lot of a lot of folks I know who are doms, who are sex workers are pretty like. They're pretty genderqueer, or they're yeah. I don't know that many cis people who do dom work. So, I mean, I guess maybe because I kind of have to, in order to play the stud, I have to kind of go against like who I really am, but that's fine. It's like putting on a play.
Right.
It's acting.
Yeah, and you think that's fun?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's like a man isn't paying me that money to like go into the room and just be myself for an hour.
You're not getting paid to be yourself.
Just do whatever, just.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Shit, you're
So
right.
I mean, which it's kind of great in a way because in so much of my life I kind of have to like ride this line of both knowing who I am as like a woman and but not being so out that it makes straight people feel uncomfortable at all. And so when you go in there, you kind of get to make this whole fucking travesty out of gender, where suddenly like this, at my most masculine, I'm a very twerpy, twinky kind of person, and so having that kind of release to get to go in and pretend to be this big fucking frightful bulldog that's just like tearing that ass apart is really funny.
Yeah, you said earlier that you don't like the term bull. How come?
Bull has some racial connotations towards like African Americans that are pretty like sketchy. Where I mean, yeah, I don't want to butcher what it is, but it's kind of like I don't remember what exactly it is, but it kind of ties into the idea of like black men being this like symbol of sexual aggression and yeah.
I feel like a lot of language in sex can be racially charged.
Yeah.
I feel like I read an article about cuckolding and how that was also a racial thing, but I don't remember exactly what it said, so I cannot speak on it.
Huh. I'm intrigued by that actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was like, I don't know, a phrase started by white people for white people.
No, I think
That's my best guess.
I want to say the article was talking about how the term came about during slavery, but I again don't remember the article, so I cannot speak on to that. But I'm sure you could find it if you Googled it. But yeah, interesting.
Sorry, I was so excited about the LaCroix thing. I'm literally like texting my best friend like they have LaCroix in dungeons. Good night.
It is well. It's cool because a lot of dungeons are just modified living spaces. So there's just like usually most
Will
of
it
the
be
places,
like living rooms or like because there are no basements in Texas, or like there's very few basements in Texas.
well, okay, yeah. I guess I shouldn't say because dungeon does necessitate that it's underground, but it's a lot of dungeons are like above ground. So it's just like an old house that's like
What
kind
do
of.
they do with the windows?
What the fuck do they do with the windows?
Do some people leave them open?
Maybe if you're like really freaky with it, but not in any place I've ever done work. I
feel
think
like if
just
the
hang
window-
something over it. I
For
guess.
some activities, whatever's going on in my mind, if the windows were left open, I feel like at one point, some way, somehow, the cops would show up. I don't know how. Either they would think somebody was in danger, or somebody needs to register, or I have no idea, but I want to know.
Yeah, I'm sure the windows are not the first thing you're looking at when you're in a dungeon.
Do they have like somebody in who's like specifically in? I guess I don't understand how dungeons work in management terms. So does like somebody like own the dungeon? Will it be at somebody's house? I'm sorry if I'm fixating on this dungeon thing. I'm just
No, it's a good because it's
is it a
it's a
shared
good it's like a
space?
complete background. It's like definitely a very important part of like the situation. Though I've done some work in my humble abode before, but it's like every dungeon I've done stuff at is like a shared space, and that means like sessioned at or like just kind of done. Yeah. Anytime I've like been to a dungeon, it's been like a shared space. Where, like somebody owns it, and they'll rent it out to like other doms or other sex workers to like come in and use it for a session, or just for people to like go in and just have a good time.
How much does it cost to rent? I'm asking for Shelby and I.
I actually have no idea.
Do you have any advice for anybody who's listening right now and they're like, oh man, I want to do that?
Shelby, I feel like you'd really enjoy degrading men.
Oh, absolutely. That's a hobby of mine.
It is great. It's like, yeah, I think that's when I find men at their most attractive, is groveling.
Yes.
Like, it's very much something, yeah, it's something I've like, and I think that really, yeah, doing like dom work really helped me like suss that out, because I was like, oh, I know I like guys, but in what context? Because every time I like
When
think
they're
of like,
weak.
yeah, every time I think of a guy, I'm like, oh yeah, he's kind of an arrogant prick, and like, this whole just. But when you see a guy just like groveling and like eating your ass, it's like, oh, this is how men were meant to be enjoyed.
This is what they were made
It's like,
for.
yeah, this is that. It makes so much sense now.
Yes.
Yeah, I've never had my cock sucked as well as by like a grown man.
Oh my God, yes.
So
yeah.
wait, I have a question. Have you ever seen the Netflix original series Bonding?
No, I've heard about it, and I've heard some kind of here and there things about it.
It's like pretty short and kind of wholesome, and I just would love for you to watch it and just kind of give an opinion.
I think I've heard. I think it's Bonding that I've heard. Like, I've heard doms lament about as being like, that's not really how you do it. That's not really like.
Yeah, I wanted to know, like, how accurate is it?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of.
That's where I got the hot pink room from.
Yeah, I mean I think that's not that accurate, but yeah,
So wait, is this something that you still do, or? Because I think you said you started one of your stories with when I was a freshman.
Mm-hmm.
So
I last time I did it was a couple years ago, and then I haven't really gotten to do it in the last like year and a half, because I moved out of Austin and into a little area where there's like that's just completely not the scene at all. So it's like, I mean, I would love to do it again, just because it's a tremendous amount of fun, but it's kind of.
Now that you're back in Austin, is it something that you're looking at doing, or are you just trying to sort life out and then you'd go back to it?
I mean, I'd love to do it again. Like anytime. If someone hit me up and was like, "Oh, tomorrow, do you want to do this?" Yeah, I mean, 99 times out of 100, I'd probably say yes if I could do it. Oh, yeah. The thing, though, is that I guess this is advice I would give to someone who's trying to do it, is that at the end of the day, if you're coming in as a sub that someone, or as a dom that someone requested, that's not like your job really. Like it's someone, it's every time I've done it, it's a dom was the one who like organized the session, who put up the ads, who had to like talk to the customer. It's basically their work and their job. And so, I mean, the advice I'd give is don't let it go to your head, the idea that like, oh, this is your thing now and you're kind of like you're the master of this realm. Because at the end of the day, you're just you're basically being hired on by somebody else to do the work.
Who's actually the mastermind.
Yeah, there's someone else who's like, which is, yeah, that's an angle I really enjoyed about doing it, is that it is kind of, as much as I am playing the sub, or not the sub, as much as I am playing the dom, in the context of like, oh, I'm dominating this man. At the end of the day, it's kind of like a sub's job, because I'm coming in as a sub to like a dom and doing something that they've requested for me to do, but I'm just getting paid for it. And so it's kind of great. It really satisfies both sides of the Switch agenda.
That's so cool. Yeah, we've never had, like I said, we've only had like strippers and solo porn and
where do these doms post these ads? I want to reach out.
There's a couple places.
We follow one of the dungeons on our Candy Girl Twitter.
Which one?
I think it's the Austin Dungeon. I think that's what it's called. It didn't have a very fancy name.
Have you been in there?
Yes.
Did I have LaCroix?
Yes.
She's asking the hard-hitting questions. This is serious journalism right here.
God. Do any dungeons have hint water?
I've never had a drop of hint water, so
Ugh.
a hint of hint water, so I don't know, maybe.
I love hint water.
The fridges are pretty, every time I've gone there, the fridges have been pretty fully stocked.
Amazing. Really taking care of your employees.
Okay, thanks for my own curiosity. That might be good content. Have you had, or do you have any knowledge about vacuum beds?
Yes. I've died to go in one, and I almost went in one.
I've
but we couldn't
always
find
wanted to go in one.
We couldn't find the materials because there's like it's like a whole fucking setup.
Yeah.
I've seen someone go in one, and it was awesome, but yeah.
I'm sorry.
tried.
I don't know what a vacuum bed is.
So basically, it's, imagine like a cot that you lay down on, and then there's like latex that goes above, and then there's like a single hole for your mouth. Just your mouth, right?
It's like your mouth and your nose. I don't think there was one for eye. I don't think there's one eye holes.
There's no eye holes, but I didn't know if it was just mouth or like also nose, right? And then the rest of it is like latex and it's all sealed. So then the air gets sucked out. So it's like
Han Solo and Carbonite. You're just like stuck there.
Yeah, have you ever vacuum sealed food?
Yeah.
It's like that, but a person.
So why? So why would you do that?
Apparently it like enhances, well, first of all, submission.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like you're entrapped. Like you can't,
Yeah, you're just a mouth. It's awesome.
like, oh my God, I saw there's this one like YouTube video of this couple that they have like a clear latex and then they like lay flowers in like leaves and like just cool nature shit, like
A bird.
like a bird, pine cones, I don't know. Like on the bed, and then when it vacuum seals, the person's decorated, and I love that.
That's
Anyways,
beautiful.
apparently like enhances the senses.
Yeah, because you like it fucks with your like what you can and can't hear too.
Oh, that's
Because
right.
you're just like one big contact mic kind of. Because you can it's just like one film covering you, enveloping you. So it's really cool. It seems really cool.
Yeah,
You have no desire to go in one?
I am interested now. I feel like I would get scared that I was gonna die, but
So I remember when I watched the video, the signal to get out of the vacuum bed is this.
Scream.
Where you move your tongue around.
yeah, that's not enough of a signal. I just shriek.
That's all you get.
Do you have any questions that you want to ask?
Is it really that hard to find all the materials for a vacuum bed? Can't you just order it online? I know they're pricey, but I
Yeah.
feel like if you have a dungeon, like...
I'm trying to remember what because we tried doing it and we were missing like something, because it's like the bed and then you have to get like the skeleton for it basically so that it actually like has a rectangular shape.
Right.
And we were missing something. We were missing like clamps or something. But so it just like, yeah, not clamps in like that sense. It's like clamp it shut so it'd stay sealed. I don't remember what it was though.
Nice. Emily's face right now.
I love all of this. If somebody asked me like what my favorite part of this interview was, I don't know what I'd say. Like the LaCroix. I don't know why I'm not. Fuck.
Well, yeah, Zero, thank you so much for coming and speaking with us today.
Absolutely.
This has definitely been one of my favorite episodes to do. I can tell by your face right now that it's absolutely your favorite episode you've ever done. So
I love this job. Like, it's not really a job. It's mostly just me tagging along with Shelby, making some good jokes. But oh my God, this is the best gig ever.
You can follow us on Instagram at Candy Girl Podcast or on Twitter at Candy Girl Pod. Send us an email, please. We love to hear from you. candygirlpodcast@outlook.com. And you'll hear from us again next Friday.